I'd like to call the meeting of March 17th, 2015 to order. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Please join me in pledging allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes.
Councilmember Bach?
Here.
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez?
Here.
Vice Mayor Reddish?
Here.
And Mayor Lund is absent.
Okay, next item on our agenda is public comment on items not on the agenda. So if you'd like to speak to any subject tonight that is not on our agenda, this is the time. And then if you're interested in one of the agenda items, please wait until that item comes up. Do we need speaker cards on this, or we don't, do we? Roger? Hello.
Good evening. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm Patricia Baines, the owner of Mrs.
I don't
B's.
think your mic's on.
I don't think that mic's on.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm Patricia Baines. I own Mrs. B's C Place. And I just wanted an update on the garbage cans.
On the garbage what?
The garbage cans, or the lack thereof.
We have them on order. We have them on order. And they're a combination of two garbage cans. One is a recycle and then one's a garbage.
Oh, good.
And then they'll have a small orifice on there and they'll be locked so no furniture can be put in them.
Okay, good.
Do you have any idea of the time frame? Because I was told last year that they'd be here before Christmas and Thanksgiving. And we're almost to Easter. So.
Yeah. We'll double check to see on the purchase order when they're going to arrive. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments for something that's not on the agenda? Okay, we'll move on to consent items. Does anybody wish to pull any item on the consent agenda? If not,
Move to approve the consent agenda.
second.
we have a motion by Councilman Bach and a second by Councilman West.
Roger, do we need the substitute?
Could we have a roll call vote, please?
The substitute
Councilmember
minutes?
West?
Yes.
Councilmember Bach?
Yes.
Trish recirculated it. Yeah, right.
Are we good on that?
Oh, I'm sorry, that, I had a change to the minutes, and I believe the new minutes were recirculated. They're, the changes germane to the
Yeah.
development agreement application that's before us tonight.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure it was accurate, that you amended that development agreement at that meeting to include sewer fees.
That was the item that was added on page 4?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody?
I'll change the motion to item D as corrected.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. And roll call?
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Bach?
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Reddish?
Aye.
And Mayor Lund is absent. With 4 members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have item 4, presentations, informational items, and reports. The first one is a presentation of a plaque to outgoing Planning Commissioner Georgiana Gallardi. I have the plaque here, and I would like to read it. I think I'll leave it in the plastic to protect it. It says, City of History, San Juan Bautista, presented to Georgiana Gallardi with sincere and grateful appreciation for dedicated service to the citizens of San Juan Bautista. Historic Resources Board, Planning Commission, February 2009 to February of 2015. But we all know that Georgiana's dedication and service to the community extended long before she got on the Planning Commission and the Historic Resources Board. So, and where is she?
Who's back there?
Oh, there she is. Take it out of the
goodness, with a gavel. Thank you, Acting Mayor Rick Edge. You've been at that podium for so many of the meetings that I've attended, and I am so pleased that the Strategic Committee is what is going to implement all the work of Matt, the general plan, and get that going, keep it going. And so thank you for that leadership.
Thank you.
Thank you for the plaque, and thanks, Roger, for everything you've done to help straighten out this city.
My pleasure. Yeah.
Keep the planning staff busy and working and knowing what we do. It really has helped to have you on board, giving us help figuring out what's going on here.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the people who are sitting here tonight, you've been in the audience speaking out for years, and I'm so glad that you stuck it out and that now you're in a position of leadership and responsibility. And I've been very proud to be on this whole team. I noticed Andy back there. Thank you to you. The Planning Commission that sits in this city now is the proudest work that I've ever done, to be among those people. And I know that the replacement for me will be just as good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next item, report on homeless program in San Benito County. Pat Lowe.
Thank you. My name is Pat Lowe, and I'm chair of the Homeless Coalition of San Benito County. I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you tonight about our program. I promise to keep it short. I know how important it is to move these meetings along. The Homeless Coalition was started in 2003 by a group of people believing that it was important to address the homeless issue in San Benito County. It has been truly a public-private partnership from the very beginning. Marley Holte was at a Fishes and Loaves meeting at Sacred Heart Church in 2003 about building a homeless shelter. I was there attending because the committee felt that the county was not doing enough to feed the homeless in the community, and Maria Phelps was there with ideas about possible funding for a CDBG grant. That was the very first step. By 2005, the county had attained the funding from CDBG grant. The coalition and the Farm Laborers Association had worked out an agreement to use the labor camp on South Side Road in the winter months, and the community was just filled with people who wanted to volunteer and were eager to help. We provided a hot meal every night. We had a cold breakfast in the morning and gave out a sack lunch. In 2005, we were opening our doors. We had 16 identified homeless people in San Benito County. Sadly, today, the number has grown to 394 identified homeless as of the 2003 survey. This January, we have taken a new survey, but we won't have those numbers, but we believe the number is much higher. The Hollister School District reports 500 students that are homeless. Today, the program is very similar to when the shelter first opened. We opened the first day of November until the end of March. In some of the coldest years, we have stayed open until April 15th. The clients are fed a hot dinner, a cold breakfast, and given a sack lunch. There are showers and laundry facilities available. The staff helps getting the clients signed up for county programs. Mental health sends a counselor in once a month. We provide transportation to doctor's appointments and any other services we can help the clients with. We pick up every evening in Hollister and bring the clients back to Hollister in the morning. The numbers for this year show that the shelter has seen 108 clients. We can give services up to 30 a night. We have beds for 30 people. We also allow any homeless that don't want to spend the night to come and receive a hot meal and use the showers, use the laundry facilities, anything they need. We have 28 new clients, or no, I'm sorry, we have 51 new clients this year. We average 28 people a night. We have had 7 people find jobs this year, and we have 3 people that have found permanent housing. We could not operate this shelter without the volunteers. We have 22 different groups that cook regularly, and we have many more that cook once or twice a season. The funds come from grants, donation, and we get an emergency winter shelter grant from the federal government. That's just a quick overview of our program. If there's any questions, I'd love to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, Pat. Okay, at this time, I would like to move up items 6E and F so that we don't keep the presenter waiting until the end of the agenda. Would anyone like to make a motion to that effect?
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman West and seconded by Councilman Bach. Roll call.
I'm sorry, what was that?
We have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote?
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Fox?
Yes.
Councilmember Marciano?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rich?
Aye.
Is absent. All members of the council being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes unanimously with Mayor Lund being absent.
Okay. Roger, would you like to?
Vice Chair, members of the Commission, I'd like to introduce Cameron Weiss. He's arrived here, and at issue here is we have in front of you tonight is the resolutions establishing the municipal authority, and I'm going to turn it over to Cameron.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Thank you, Roger. So tonight, there's a couple of matters here. In order to give the finale to a formation of a JPA, there's a necessity of joining the original JPA between an existing state-wide joint powers authority that's comprised of many cities across the state of California. That is the first step in this. What that does, it allows the powers that are common to the city and that JPA to be exercised in forming another JPA, which is on the agenda tonight, which can then be utilized to do many things for the city. It can act as a counterparty to leases, to financing agreements, and then ultimately, I think what we're most concerned about is potentially refunding your existing outstanding indebtedness. And so it's what happens with any kind of financing when you're using a JPA, you're able to take advantage of the Marx Ruse powers. It's a particular portion of the government code that allows you to issue revenue bonds. Revenue bonds have a better name in the market than certificates of participation, which is another common vehicle for municipal debt. And so what we were able to do is talk to several underwriters about going to their retail desk and asking the people that have to sell these bonds, what would be the difference if you sold a revenue bond versus a certificate of participation? And they came back with an average differential of about 1/4 of a percentage point. So it's quite substantial. And if you're talking about if you ultimately are going to refinance your debt, which is over $10 million, that 1/4 of an interest point over the next 25 years amounts to several hundreds of thousands of dollars. So what we thought is your staff to guide you is to come before you with this opportunity to join this state JPA first as a city council. Then you would be part of that state JPA. There wouldn't be anything to do in that one. You're a silent member, so there's really nothing to do in that front. But with that, it allows you, as I said, to then enter into another resolution that would form your own JPA for purposes of refinancing this debt. So the steps in order would be, after if you're interested in moving forward, would be to adopt the resolution of the City Council that authorizes and directs the execution of a joint exercise of powers agreement relating to the California Municipal Finance Authority. That's the first step. That then makes you the member of that statewide JPA. Once that's done, it becomes kind of set aside. That's done. That's first order of business. Second order of business would be to adopt the resolution of the City Council authorizing and directing execution and delivery of a joint exercise of powers agreement necessary for the creation of the San Juan Bautista Public Financing Authority. Once that's done, you're authorizing your city manager to sign first the agreement with that statewide JPA, then you're authorizing your city manager to authorize this new joint powers or execution agreement, which will be between the city and the statewide JPA, of which this new authority is your own. You, as the city council, become the only voice on this San Juan Bautista Public Financing Authority. The statewide JPA has nothing to do with it. At that point, they've agreed that you are the voice. The only thing they ask is that when they've agreed to refinance these 2008 bonds, you don't have to go before them. But if you ever go for another financing, if you want to utilize this JPA again, they do want the right to say yes, but it says their consent will not be unreasonably withheld. So you have the ability to use it down the road as well. So anyway, to continue, then that joint powers agreement becomes the enabling document that we can then utilize for purposes of refinancing to come before you again, but if all this is done this evening, with a full set of refunding documents that would then authorize the refunding of your outstanding indebtedness. Then we would go to market, come back to you again and announce the results of the refunding. So that's kind of the procession of events. I know there's some questions and I'd be happy to provide any answers at this time. So,
Questions?
Well, to join the state JPA, it costs us $10,000, is that correct?
it's the entire process of joining the state JPA and forming your own. The total fee is $10,000. They've agreed to allow you to finance that out of this refunding that will be coming to you in a week or two. So,
Okay.
yes.
And once it's developed, then you will be the board of directors of that San Juan Municipal Financing Authority.
What's the length of time before we can essentially pay off the COP and sell the bonds?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the next step, of course, is to authorize bond refunding documents. You haven't seen those yet. So and we've drafted those. They are being circulated. They're being between staff and then our financing, consulting team that we've assembled. So that's going to take another week or so to get that hammered out. But from the time that we come back to you, and if you agree to authorize all those documents, then you're looking at about 2.5 weeks to get into the market, get it sold, to finalize and execute the transaction. And so far, the rates are holding strong. We had some weird things about a week and a half ago. It was mostly because of the supply in the marketplace. But that's since leveled itself out. The rates are still holding. So we think you're going to have a clear run here to get these refinanced at the kinds of levels we've talked about in the past.
Can the holders of the COP instruments withhold permission to be paid off?
No. Your original bond documents provide clear authority to refinance those bonds, and it's just part of when they purchase those bonds. That's what they purchased them with the understanding that that's a possibility.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One other question. A future city council, let's say, decides to buy whatever, and they need a couple $1 million or something, but the state board, JPA, is still looking at them, right, and saying, well, no, or yes, as far as...
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said, is that the one condition of this is that you are the only spokes board. I mean, the city council becomes the voting members, the board members of the Joint Powers Authority. So you have full autonomy to do whatever you like. You can entertain, let's say you need a couple $1 million, you can entertain that, as a new financing vehicle, and you simply have to take it to that board and say, here's what we want to do. They would have to find a reason in order to turn you down, and the reason would have to be substantial. It would have to be something that's based in fact, not in speculation. It would have to be, look, we've done some independent analysis, and we don't think you can afford to do this, and then you share, no, we have, so it'd be a little back and forth, but the words shall not unreasonably withheld have legal significance. So, yeah.
I think that's all the question I have.
Okay. Let's see, I guess I'd better open this up for public comment. Is there anybody from the public that would like to comment on this or ask questions? Okay, I'll close the public hearing then and bring it back to the council. We have a resolution that needs to be adopted in order to, as I understand it, join the state JPA. What's the council's pleasure?
Any other questions, comments? No? Okay. I move that we pass a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista approving, authorizing, and directing execution of a joint exercise of powers agreement relating to the California Municipal Finance Authority.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Martirana and seconded by Councilman West to approve the resolution. Could we have a vote, please?
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Bach,
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Edge,
Aye.
Mayor Lund is absent. With 4 members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the mayor passes 4-0 with Mayor Lund being absent.
What's the number? The resolution? Or is it?
It's 12.
12. Okay. And now we have another resolution that's part of this same item, and that is for the creation of the San Juan Bautista Public Financing Authority. This is all the same item, but did anybody have any questions about this? Okay,
No.
so we'll move ahead with this.
Public comment?
That's what I just asked for.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I was looking at the audience, I didn't state.
Sorry.
Okay, so would anybody in the public like to make any comments about this part of the item or any questions? Okay, thank you. So back to the council.
I move that we pass a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista authorizing and directing the execution and delivery of a joint exercise of powers agreement necessary for the creation of the San Juan Bautista Public Financing Authority.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Martirana, second by Councilman West.
Okay. Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Bach,
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Edge,
Aye.
and Mayor Lund is absent. With 4 members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the mayor passes 4-0 with Mayor Lund being absent.
Okay, that takes us back to item 4C.
What was this, number 13?
Yeah, this would be 13. Yeah. Takes us back to item 4C, monthly financial statements and treasurer's report. Treasurer Geiger, I guess will be here tonight, but will be late. Should we
Postpone it until
postpone this? If he is coming, then we may as well postpone it. So we'll continue this until he arrives. Item 4D, sheriff's report, monthly activity. Any comments or questions? We have a report. Captain Taylor won't be here tonight. The report came out today, I believe. No comments, no questions? Okay. We'll move to
No.
item E, which is the fire chief's report. Mayor Lund usually gives that if we don't have one of the officials from the fire department here, and he's not here. So we don't have a written report to accept. So I guess we'll move to the library report, which is item F. Any questions on the library report? Any comments from members of the public on the library report? Okay, we'll accept that. 4G administrative report. Roger?
Well, let me kind of quickly go through here. Public Works, in the staff report, you can see we're trying to concentrate on some street repairs. We have some street festivals coming up, and I know the 3rd Street is in deplorable condition. We want to kind of smooth some of that out before the street events get going. We're out there, we're trying to grind some of the bumps out of there so it's a little bit smoother.
Good.
And the crew is experimenting with the spray rig that we've purchased, and they're starting to do some crosswalks, and you can see they're periodically, I tell them at least one day a week, we will pick a spot and then just kind of go through the city, and eventually we'll cover the whole city. Code enforcement, Matt and I have been on lead a bit of that, and sent out a number of letters today.
8.
8, yeah. Planning Department, we've gone through the initial study, and then we did a negative declaration for well number 2A and 4. The Planning Commission passed that. Now we're proceeding to negotiate with the property owners, see if we can get a legal description and tie up the property, and then we can go out and I'll bring it back to you for going out to bid and starting to do the preparatory work for drilling the well. Frankly, Al, the applicant, he appeared from the Planning Commission, and we received a summons from the attorney that he is represented by to do a public records research, and so we've provided that information to him. And so it'll be another issue that's going to come back in front of the Planning Commission as well as the City Council. The history behind that is very complex, and Matt has done a lot of research on it. He's fairly confident that we have all of the ducks in order, but remains to be seen. Work on the new well is continuing, and as we mentioned before, we've got the environmental documents out of the way, and so our paper trail and documentation is moving forward so we can get going on the fuel station, and we're petitioning, and tonight in front of you is a petition for 13 acres that's going to come into the city. That's part of the old 14-acre parcel that's situated on the north side of San Juan Hollister Road, in between the San Juan Hollister Road and 156, and west of the Mission Vineyard Park and east of the San Juan Inn. Any questions?
Yeah, I had a question. When did Ed Lamb's newspaper stop publishing? Do you know by any chance? I'm wondering if there was a news article in there, because they have the back copies at the library. I wonder
at the library or at the museum, I think. Yeah.
I mean, at the museum, yeah.
Right.
I wonder if we could use that to locate some kind of contemporary record of this. And then the other question I have is, doesn't a CUP expire after a certain length of time, or does it remain?
Well, I think Deborah said is the use permit goes with the land, and we're finding is that part of the use permit for a motel and a restaurant, the motel was activated and was built, but the restaurant sat for the next 32 years and didn't get constructed. But and we've taken the position that even though maybe the use permit allows a restaurant, that they have to go through site design approval before they can get a building permit.
Mm-hmm. If it's a conditional use permit, but then I guess we'd need to find it to find out what the conditions are. But would a conditional use permit also go with the land?
Yes, a conditional use permit runs with the land, so we just really need to find it and see how specific it was to allowing the restaurant and where on the parcel and if there was anything that caused it to expire. But we just don't have the information right now to say what ran with the land at this point.
If we do find a news article from a newspaper that was printed about the time of the approval of the conditional use permit, can we use that as a substitute record? Should we not be able to find?
I guess
the-
we have an
It's conditional,
application
it's not going to have the
page.
conditions.
Right, we have an application
Newspaper
page, but we don't have anything that it was ever issued, so I don't know that that would be reliable entirely. I think that the applicant, too, can do some research now and try to figure out if there's anything recorded against the title or any other evidence we have that a use permit was actually issued, because we don't have it here besides a cover page that said it was applied for.
Are conditional use permits typically recorded with the county recorder's office?
I don't know if they were back then, I don't
Not
think so.
really, no.
Not really.
Sometimes like a development agreement would be,
Yeah.
but not.
More of a city record.
Matt has done an exhaustive research, and we've gone through the minute books
In the storage container of our
search
backups.
storage and backup.
I talked to the state clearinghouse about whether a certified EIR was ever filed, because we have like how we have the use permit application, we also have a draft environmental impact report, but we don't have a certified final one. And we don't have a final building permit, and we don't have a use permit or any sort of maps of the original buildings. So it makes it very hard to determine what conditions were put on this site as far as uses.
Sounds like fun.
And compounded with that is at about the same time, we found another application by Christensen for a 60-unit motel at the catty corner to it, which would be where the
Windmill Market.
windmill market is, you know. And I guess that never did get approved yet.
Okay.
It also went on for a number of years. I mean, the original use permit application was from 1979, but we have something from 1984 that was a request for additional units. 82 is the request for additional units, and then a hold harmless agreement from 84, which came before their certificate of occupancy or anything else. So we know that 5 years after that initial application, they still had not, been approved to open. So a lot of things could have transpired in that time period, and we just need to know what those things were.
Any
Rick
other
and I were
questions?
talking, we both, between us, we have 20 years on the planning commission, but we apparently don't have that period of time.
And if we did, I wouldn't be able to remember it.
All I remember,
According to the old minutes,
I remember the Posada.
Mr. Bach was on the planning commission towards
No,
the end of that
I'm
time
going to sit down and go
period.
through that stuff.
Someone sitting beside me here was the city engineer, so.
Okay, thank you, Roger. Public meetings and city council committee reports. Anybody want to start off, or
Sure.
Chris?
AMBAG has a number of sort of irons in the fire, but we'll be seeing a lot of final reports and requests for public input coming up in the future. So nothing in particular to report at this point. They're working on a memo of understanding with the Monterey Bay Sanctuary, which in theory could impact some of us in the inland areas because of runoff issues. But I don't think that has necessarily any significant impact for us in particular. Intergovernmental, we heard they're working on a memo of understanding on putting together a homeless program countywide that is a little more comprehensive and a little better funded. So Ms. Lowe's presentation was timely, because I think that's going to become more of an issue for us locally.
Is she aware that that's?
Yes, she's
She
been
is,
attending
okay.
those meetings,
Oh,
the
okay,
intergovernmental
good.
committee meetings, yeah.
Good.
That's all I have.
Unbelievable, there's 306 people.
You know what, there's more than that if there's 500
Yeah.
kids.
Lots more.
You've got to count the kids too.
Lots
So
more.
we've got a big problem.
The only thing I have from COG is we're still waiting for them to set up a meeting on some kind of traffic calming out on 156 with Caltrans. And as far as I know, they haven't contacted you yet, have they, Roger?
No, not yet.
And I did have a phone conversation with Supervisor Patello this afternoon, where the COG is having a retreat, and I don't know who all it involves, city councils, or they didn't tell me, just told me to be there for lunch. But in talking to Supervisor Patello, the Caltrans has a new deputy director, and apparently he is going to get down on District 5 and tell them to start maybe looking out for the people instead of themselves, type of thing. So hopefully we'll have a better Caltrans, but
I'd sure like to see
that's
that.
about it.
Thank you.
The fire, the city-county fire meeting was at that. They're working on a new contract. And the interesting thing I found out, they have no sinking fund to replace any of the fire equipment in this area. There's no money. They never put anything away. They don't have a sinking fund for that. So when those fire trucks go, I don't know what we're going to do.
I have may I comment?
Yeah, please.
I've been commuting or carpooling to the AMBAG meetings with Ignacio Velasquez, the mayor of Hollister, and I asked him, because I've had a number of people in the community ask me why the San Juan Bautista fire truck isn't here. Why there's a Hollister fire truck, and apparently it has to do with the ability to exhaust gases from the firehouse, and it's a health and safety issue for the firemen themselves. And I don't know if they're working on an upgrade to the building here to then exhaust the fumes from the truck so that truck can come back or not, but there's something different about the truck that they use here where it has a much different exhaust system that doesn't put out as much noxious gases. So that was a question that's come up a number of times from the community, and I finally found out why.
Interesting.
I thought we got that exhaust system.
The exhaust system was procured from the CDF, and it's sitting at the Public Works Department.
Gotcha.
Out there, you know, and
so it's an ongoing.
I measured the building, you know, and then I designed the superstructure to get it situated, but it's never been installed. Yeah.
Where the firemen?
I figured there was a reasonable
What makes it legal is every time they do start the door, the front doors are open, is the side doors there, and that makes it to where there's a cross ventilation. It's not a closed system. So.
Gotcha. I just didn't. It was interesting. He was aware of the issue and rattled it immediately, and I thought that was good. I'm glad I asked.
Oh, okay.
And it really doesn't matter. I mean, now that it's consolidated,
right.
It doesn't matter whose truck is where. Because the fire department puts that there for capacities, and we may have that overcapacity or undercapacity, and they balance it all out.
Yeah.
You know.
Plus, we need to cover a larger area than we used to anyway from here. Yeah.
So, but the concern was, why doesn't it say San Juan Bautista on it?
That was what was expressed to me, yes.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's not really the San Juan Bautista Fire Department anymore.
No, it isn't.
We contract with Hollister.
I'm aware.
So, yeah. Okay, and I have no report. I'm on LAFCO, but there was no meeting last month. I have a meeting this month, after tonight, though. All right, item 5A.
Before we move on, we have a comment.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, council members. Real quick on the exhaust system, I actually work for a company who installs those. So yeah, there's lots of options on exhaust systems, especially with emergency vehicles where they have quick disconnects. So if they don't take it off the exhaust pipe, they'll quick disconnect off so they don't end up ripping hoses out of the sky. So yeah, there are definitely systems specifically designed for fire trucks and such for that very reason. I'm here tonight just to present what we had at our neighborhood watch meeting. We had a neighborhood watch meeting on March 12th. Deputies Rich Brown and Dave Zender both came to this meeting. Our meeting topic was home, property, vehicle, and personal safety tips, kind of going over ideas, just kind of making people aware. I've been Connie and I spoke briefly on Friday about getting that information onto our website so that it can be put out. Some of the more simple ones, just to touch quick bases. They were telling us that 90% of vehicle thefts are due to just not locking the doors in your car. So, as silly as it sounds, if you don't want your car broken into, well, I guess it's not even being broken into, if you don't want your car
disappearing.
Thank you. Merely lock the doors. We'll keep a lot of that down. A great tip that Deputy Brown gave us is keep your car keys and your car alarm next to your bed. And that way, if you hear something in your house, somebody coming into your house, you hear something going on, you can hit the panic button on your alarm keys. I actually never even thought of that one. Thought that was clever in a simple way. And probably the most simple of all is just being aware of your surroundings, especially when you're walking within town, around and about. Some of our group discussions included a request by several of our members to install lighting at the Washington undercrossing, and I actually have an impromptu signed petition by several of our members looking into possibly putting some lighting on that undercrossing. Their concern was is at night, dusk time, it gets extremely dark under there, and there's obviously some places where safety hazard could exist. One of the things got brought up, and darn it if the city didn't get ahead of me on this, was laying limit lines and painting stop signs on the pavement. And I saw, it looks like today they actually at 3rd and Donner and 3rd Street, looks like all the way to at least Monterey, at least that's what I saw on my way in. They actually did get the stop printed on the pavement. The crosswalks looks like they were redone. They look like they're pretty well done. That came as a concern from both deputies in that without the limit line, sometimes there could be a question of if somebody didn't stop at a stop sign, there was no limit line for them to see it. So that helps cure that excuse. There was also a request to see if the city has, or maybe can provide us with a few more neighborhood watch signs that we can put up around town. And there was a specific request from Deputy Brown that the City Council look into passing specific ordinance regarding fireworks. He was discussing how last year they had, when they were, as he put it, collecting large ordnance around town, that they really don't have anything that they can refer to that he knew of. I briefly went through, but I didn't do a whole lot of research, but he said that it might make their job a lot easier on the 4th of July when they're catching people, to, instead of just taking it away and saying, hey, don't do that, actually have a little bit of teeth behind them if the city had some sort of ordinance against having non-safe fireworks within town. And that was pretty much what we had in our report this month.
Great. Thank you.
To answer the question about the Washington Street underpass, that's Caltrans property,
Oh, okay.
and that's been an ongoing problem, again, with Caltrans.
All she had to say was Caltrans, and I knew it was...
Answers all questions.
Yep. Anything for me?
No?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to 5A, public hearings. Consider adopting ordinance 2015, whatever, for the rezoning of a 27.27 acre parcel of land situated at 1147 San Juan Highway, APN 002-220-006, from agriculture to single-family residential R1. Second reading and adoption. Do we need a report on this? I guess the title tells it all. Huh?
Yeah, right. Yeah, this is the just a follow-up of the 27.27 acres. That's the 1.0 acre that's out of the 28.35 acres that has to be annexed to the city, and that's your next item there, and this is the one that would develop the rezoning from agricultural to R1.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
No questions. Okay, open up the public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to speak to this issue? Any speaker cards? No speaker cards? Okay. All right, we'll close the public hearing and have discussion if there is any, and take action or not. Any discussion? No.
You got nothing?
No.
Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll move that we adopt an ordinance of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista approving the rezoning of a 27.27 acre parcel of land situated at 1149 San Juan Highway, APN 002-220-006 from agricultural to R1 low density residential development district.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman West and seconded by Councilman Bach that we pass this.
Yes.
Councilmember Bach?
Yes.
Councilmember Martorano?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Reddish?
Aye.
Mayor Lund is absent. With 4 members of the council being present, the motion is, as stated by the maker, passes 4-0 with Mayor Lund being absent.
And the number?
That is 7.
07.
1507.
Okay, and this was the second reading and adoption,
Adoption,
so
yeah.
this takes effect, what is it, 30 days?
30 days thereafter.
After today. Okay, we go next to the second page of my agenda. Consider adopting ordinance 2015-XX for the pre-zoning of a 1.08 acre parcel at 1147 San Juan Highway, APN 012-100-012, to single-family residential district R1, and this also is a second reading and adoption. Let's go straight to public hearing. Are there any comments on this item? Do we have any speaker cards? No? Okay, let's close the public hearing then. Any questions of staff?
No.
No questions.
I
What do
move that
want to
we
do?
adopt an ordinance of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista approving a pre-zoning of 1.08 acre parcel of land situated at 1149 San Juan Highway to R1 Low Density Residential District, APN 012-100-012.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman West, seconded by Councilman Bach.
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Bach?
Yes.
Councilmember Martorano?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Reddish?
Aye.
Mayor Lund is absent. With 4 members of the council being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes 4-0 with Mayor Lund being absent.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to, and that was number 8, right?
5B.
So 5C, consider adopting ordinance 2015, this would be 09, accepting a development agreement for Rancho Vista subdivision, second reading and adoption.
Yeah, Mr. Vice Mayor, members of the council, we've had several meetings with the applicant and the staff and members of the council in going through the development agreement, and there was several changes, and we felt that these changes, because it was introduced, we could not take these changes, and it would be best is that we amended the thing down the line to reflect all of those conditions, as well as changes in the conditions of approval, which will be referred back to the Planning Commission, and stuff. So the two changes that the current ordinance will allow, and the development agreement is that we changed the definition of the water fund to the enterprise fund, and the other one was on page 18. It was condition 17, where inadvertently the sewer connection fee of $5,240 was left out, and we included that. So those are the only two changes to the development agreement that was approved by the Planning Commission and recommended to the City Council.
I just want to add to make a good record that you approved the sewer fee change at your last meeting, so that was on the first reading. And legally, you're allowed to make clerical changes at this point, but you can't make any substantial changes, and so that's the reason why if you're going to do a second reading tonight, you have to approve it basically as is, just with those small changes of what you approved at the first meeting and changing the water fund to the enterprise fund.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions?
Just the timing of the amendment, is that, appeared to me to be very straightforward, and we can be done immediately.
Yeah, the municipal code says that you need to advise the applicant, which would be the proponent, 10 days in advance. Okay. And if we advise him tonight, then within 10 days we could have another meeting and amend it. Yes.
So our next city council meeting, we can have that amended, basically.
Yes.
Or do we have a special meeting?
I mean, I don't know that I don't necessarily think we need to have a special meeting for that. I think we're all clear, and I think we're gonna walk through those items, are we not, tonight?
You can't do it at a special meeting because it's an ordinance. You can only adopt it at a regular meeting.
Okay. All right.
There we go.
Yeah.
That takes care of that. Okay.
Do we want to go through, should we go through those?
We can go through and identify the issues on the
This is all in the development agreement?
yes.
Actually, well, I don't think you'll see the amendments that we've been that we're talking about are going to be in a separate document. So they wouldn't be reflected in the document that's here. This is the development agreement that we voted on at the last meeting. So this is not changed from the last meeting.
No. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the only two changes to the development agreement that we have here is changing that water
Exactly.
and the sewer connection fee.
Exactly.
Okay.
And those were read in and made at the time it was voted on at the last meeting, city council.
Okay.
What is this? What did the sewer fee change to?
The fee didn't change. It was just not in the agreement.
was left out.
It was overlooked
Not included. no.
entirely. So it needed to be added back in.
How'd I get this one?
I see water funds in here.
Oh, I got it right here. Item
Page
17
7.
I think it was the sewer.
on page 19.
There you go.
17 on 19.
And this is dated, this is dated, wait a minute. March 17th, that's the date.
Yeah,
Right.
it wasn't in, it was left out of the last month, and so they just put it in.
Oh, that's, okay.
Yeah, it
All
was
right, now
added
it is.
prior to
It was
the
a clerical
vote.
error, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was added prior to the vote last. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So now we're going to,
So the suggestion is that we vote on take public comment, discuss it amongst ourselves, which I guess we're doing, and approve this document with the understanding that there will be an amendment with several items that we will then enact at our next meeting. And so I don't know if you guys want to go through those items, those amendment items now.
I don't think we need
Part of
to.
the
We'll
discussion.
go through them when we have them in
Yeah.
front of us, I guess.
Okay.
And just to clarify, they're more clarification than anything, particularly like on condition 45, we wanted to be, after discussing with it there, we wanted to be a little bit more descriptive of what the widening of Third Street was. On condition 6, we, with concurrence with the applicant, we included the construction of some sidewalks at the corner of Church and Third Street that will give the continuity of sidewalks all the way from the development clear into the city. And then there's a couple other minor changes that
Yeah.
we developed, so that we're
Expanding the noise mitigation
noise
slightly.
mitigation. We originally restricted it to certain lots, and we changed it to all lots within the subdivision that would be subject to noise, and no building on Sundays, and on Saturdays, no loud noises, and certain restrictions and time limitations.
Okay.
And then the change, there was an assessment district, is that the
Yes,
right term?
yeah.
To
Yeah,
include
and
road
Under
maintenance.
the additional financing there, we had not a metal roofs, but we had a landscaping and lighting district, and then we had a maintenance facility service district that included operations of the lift station, street sweeping, maintenance of the drainage channel, and then at the last we included road maintenance and repair.
Okay.
And then the conditions of approval, we had condition 6 where we added the 5 foot of sidewalk on Church Street, and condition 12 we added the street maintenance to the district, and item 31 was on your thing is restrict the noise to all lots, and 32 restrict the loud noises of vibratory equipment to all lots, and on condition 39, it was adding B323-2 and B3-3 as a clarification for the standard fire and domestic fire utility box. We wanted to make that clear. And then condition 47 was added to a prior, it said prior city approval, and we put prior city council approval. Just that clarification, you know.
Yeah.
And the last was 54, where we clarified the scope of work and how the reimbursement and who will pay the reimbursement. We wanted to make sure it was specific that if this development widens 3rd Street between the boundaries of the D'Ambrosio subdivision and North Street, that the reimbursement will come from the D'Ambrosio development.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Okay, we'll open up the public hearing. Do we have any speaker cards? No. Would anybody like to speak on this subject? Andy? State your name.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Following this project from the time it was brought to the city, and living here since 2006 and observing Creek Bridge, that subdivision, every night I go for a walk, whoever was involved in that had the right idea, because a lot of people that do come over comment on that subdivision. And I believe the subdivision will bring in the impact fees along with the residents, the families that will come home at night, maybe not want to cook, they'll go down and buy a pizza, they're going to buy the $5 latte at Vertigo, and they're going to contribute to the city. I'm almost certain. I got to make one comment Dave Medeiros said, and it always stuck in my mind. He was against the Creek Bridge subdivision, but now, since it's in, he's got some great friends, and I think that's going to happen with the 86 or 90 homes that are coming in. The parents and even the kids growing up are going to be like a neighborhood that I lived in Watsonville. They'll remember each other, they're going to play, and they're going to, they're going to be friends forever. I think it's a great subdivision, along with the D'Ambrosio. I think it's going to bring a lot of positive factors to the city, along with revenue, and maybe some participation from residents to get involved with us at the city level. And I encourage you to work something out and get it accepted, and we get this thing going, and we can do things in the city. The revenue stream, we're doing good. This will bring more revenue in. We can maybe fix 3rd Street from Tumalumne down to San Jose or McCollum. But we can do some stuff. We'll have some money to play with, and you guys can do little projects here and there, and you won't hear, you can't say we don't have money. We'll have a little money, a little money stream coming in. But I encourage you to support that, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Andy. Richard?
Richard Ponce, 93 4th Street, San Juan Bautista. I've been following this project when it was first presented. It's a very good project. The merchants, San Juan merchants fully support it. The majority of the people that live here support it. It's a very fine-tuned project. The developer has pretty much done everything that we asked for, and this is a project that I think could be good for San Juan, and I fully support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Anybody else that would like to speak on this issue? Okay, no more speaker cards. Okay, we'll go ahead and close it and bring it back to the council. So this would be ordinance
09.
09. Would anybody like to make a motion?
You want me to do it this time?
Sure.
He's been doing a pretty good job. Jim West, the motion maker.
Hey, I can read. I'm so proud of that.
Okay. I move that we pass an ordinance to the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista approving the development agreement between the City of San Juan Bautista and R.L. Fulton Holding Company, LLC, for the Rancho Vista subdivision project, project BTM 2015-201.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Martirana and seconded by Councilman West.
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Bach?
Yes.
Councilmember Martirana?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ridge?
Aye.
Mayor Lund is absent. With 4 members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes 4-0 with Mayor Lund being absent.
The number?
09.
09?
Yeah.
Thank you.
One other question. This isn't going to hold him up, these small conditions?
No.
No.
Okay.
And just like to just reiterate the adoption of the ordinance, second reading, carries with it on the page there findings, and those findings are spelled out in our municipal code, and there are 8 of them, or 9 of them, excuse me.
Did you want us to read them into the record, or?
Is it necessary? No. Yeah.
Not necessary, okay. All right, we'll move to the next item. This is 5D. Consider adopting ordinance 2015-10 for the pre-zoning of a 1.04 acre parcel of land situated at Monterey and McKelvey Streets, APN 012-140-017, to Commercial District. Second reading and adoption.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, when we were annexing the cemetery, our well number 3, our reservoir, we discovered that there is a 1 acre nose of the commercial property at the corner of McCullamy and Monterey Street as it exits onto Highway 156, and it's in the county, and we felt that it was due time that we annex that, and then we bring it in, and it's combined with the 2.44 acres of that's in the city already. And this way here, it'll bring basically 3.5 acres as one parcel, and that will facilitate really a better buildable and more developable lot. Also, what it'll do is it will pave the way for the owner of this property, the Mannings, as well as the Rodriguez, to do a lot line adjustment and straighten the dog leg of this parcel out so that it's much more manageable in terms of development strategy. And so that's the direction that this is going.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
Okay. We'll open up the public hearing. Do we have any speaker cards on this one? No speaker cards? Okay. Does anybody want to speak that hasn't prepared a speaker card? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the council. What's your pleasure?
I move we adopt an ordinance of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista adopting the pre-zoning of a 1.04 parcel of land, APN 012-140-017, situated at the southeast corner of the intersection of Monterey and McElhaney Streets to commercial residential.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman West, second by Councilman Bach. Roll
Councilmember
call.
West,
Yes.
Councilmember Bach,
Yes.
Councilmember Martorana,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ridge.
Aye.
Mayor Lund is absent. All members of 4 members of the council being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes 4-0 with Mayor Lund being absent.
And the number?
11.
That is
10.
10.
Oh, that was 10, yes.
Yeah. Okay, the next item has 6 pieces of property. I wonder if I can read the title and then just read the address and APN on each one, or do I need to read
Yeah.
each?
Yeah, and
That's
again,
okay.
again, this is more housekeeping. Inadvertently, these 6 parcels were zoned agricultural, yet they had residential houses on there for a number of years, and we've decided to clean it up. And it would be appropriate to read the title on the 6. They're all the same, just different legal descriptions.
Okay, so this item is consider rezoning of 6 existing residential home properties on First Street from agriculture to single-family residential R1. The first one is at 1022 First, APN 002-240-014. Second one is at 1024 First Street, APN 002-240-013. Third one is at 1026 First Street, APN 002-240-012. Next one is 1036 First Street, APN 002-230-003. The fifth one is 1046 First Street, APN 002-230-002. And the last one is at 1056 First Street, APN 002-230-001. Any speaker cards on this one?
no speaker cards.
No speaker cards. Does anybody wish to speak on this subject? Okay, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council.
Can I get away with the same thing if I make the motion like he read it?
Well, the,
Or do I
oh
have to
yeah,
read-
we have an ordinance for each one, don't we?
Yeah.
Do we have to vote on
I
these
think-
separately?
You can do it the same way.
Can we do it the same way,
You can do it collectively.
collectively? Okay, great.
Okay. I'll make a motion, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista approving the rezoning of a parcel situated at 1022 First Street, APN 002-240-014. 1024 First Street, APN 002-240-013. 1026 First Street, APN 002-240-012. 1036 First Street, APN 002-230-003. 1046 First Street, APN 002-230-002. And 1056 First Street, APN 002-230-001.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Bach and seconded by Councilman West.
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Bach,
Yes.
Councilmember Martorana,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ridge.
Aye.
Mayor Lund is absent. With 4 members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes 4-0. Mayor Lund absent.
Now, what are, you got, what, 6 different
The
ordinances?
first one is 11, the next one is 12,
Okay,
13, 14, 15, and the last one is 16. Are we setting a record for how many ordinances are passed at one meeting?
Yes.
I
Pretty
think we might
close.
be. Or I think we might be. Okay. We'll move to item F, Consider adopting ordinance 2015, this will be 17, modifying section 11-04-010A of the San Juan Bautista Municipal Code relating to residential districts, site coverage. This is a first reading and introduction.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, as you recall, there was a little bit of confusion about building coverage and site coverage, and over the course of receiving building plans and everything, some of the owners are confused about the amount of coverage they can have, and some of them have blatantly overstated their coverage and understated and stuff, and we felt that the way the thing reads, and the intent was, is that ultimately about 50% of any lot could be covered with impervious material. And we wanted to simplify it, and I tried to simplify it to where it says that in more simple terms. It just says the maximum site coverage, which includes the buildings and impervious surface material, will not exceed 50%. And that was what we were trying to get. You know, and now you get into all of the derivatives as well. If a person does not want to build a big home like that and he's has smaller, then he could still put impervious material up to 50%. And we're finding, particularly when when a person has a 7,000 square foot lot and they put a normal 2,200 square foot house on it, and his driveway and his garage, and then he turns around and he wants to put a swimming pool with a cabana, he's right at that 50%. Mm-hmm. You know,
so this clarifies that,
this
or
clarifies it,
that,
you know, and I think, you know. Mm-hmm.
I brought up, my concern was not, was at the, sort of at the other end of the spectrum, someone who has a larger lot, 9 or 10,000, say a 10,000 square foot lot, and chose to build a 2,000 square foot house. They would potentially have a larger concrete area or impermeable surface area than the house available. They could build an absolutely massive concrete structure, and I think that wasn't necessarily the intent of what we wanted. Having the 50% maximum is good, but I would suggest that we put in a stipulation that it also not exceed, that the impermeable surface not exceed 20% of the house size with a maximum of 50%. So what I would ask is that we send this back to the Planning Commission for that sort of language and for them to review it, update it, and then bring it forward again.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's appropriate because at the last Planning Commission meeting, I submitted a staff report where I approached them to where, why does everybody say, oh, the standard postage stamp lot should be 7,000? Where did that come from? It's a carryover from years. Is there sometimes a need for a 4,000 square foot lot? Yes. Sometimes there's a 5,000 square foot, 6,000, 7, and then upwards. And the commission now is looking at a multitude of parcel sizes, and then that lot coverage is going to have a sliding scale on it, just like Councilman Maturano says, is that might prove that maybe on a smaller lot you can have 50%, but on a larger lot it might be 38% or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Didn't that have an effect on affordable housing, the availability of affordable housing?
Yeah, exactly. And what happens on larger lots is that they build a home and then they'll want a secondary unit. And the secondary unit has not only the living quarters, right now it's 600 square feet, but then they'll say, oh, I want to put a garage or a carport, and then have a lot of impervious material in the surface areas. So there's a lot of drawbacks, and I think we have to sort that out. But the intent is that the way it was reading, it was creating a little conflict with home designers and stuff. Well, no, I can do this, and when we get the plans, it doesn't fit to the realm of what we're going to approve, and then we got to go back to them and says, no, you got to redraw that, and then they get a little upset.
Yeah, okay.
So I wanted to make it so it was more definitive and there's no misunderstanding, you know.
So
Okay, well, we've got this on the agenda. We should take public comment if there is any. Do we have any speaker cards on this? No, no speaker cards. Okay, does anybody wish to address this issue? Okay. What would we like to do?
well,
I would say
Do we need to vote to continue it, or?
Consensus is let's refer it back to the planning commission.
Yeah, okay. That
Thank
sounds
you.
good. That
That's
sounds
what I
like
moved, that we
consensus.
send this back to the planning commission for,
This is
their
their,
review.
this is their bailiwick.
right.
They should deal with this. All right, we'll move to the next item, G. Consider adopting ordinance 2015-17 amending section 11-10, or pardon me, 11.10, signs of Title 11 of the San Juan Bautista Municipal Code.
Well, the planning commission has worked on this since I came on board, the 3.5 years. It's been a long process, and they've done an outstanding job, and I think we've got it into the form where it needs to initiate the next step, and that would be the introduction, and then the adoption of it, and then 30 days after that, then Matt and I can start to circulate it and bring all the downtown merchants up to speed on it. And many of them have participated.
Okay, any questions of staff?
I had, I think maybe for the attorney, our city attorney, on page 3, letter F at the top, First Amendment, the last sentence of that paragraph says, city control of signs shall be limited to the size, placement, and location only, but elsewhere we talk about design requirements, and I wondered if that might be a conflict.
What this refers to is constitutionally, they call it time, place, and manner regulation, and in free speech, people have the right to free speech, and all we can do is look at the time, place, and manner. And so it seems to me that size and placement are incorporated into design in a larger context. So I think that language is passable in this instance.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay. Do we have any speaker cards on this one? No.
There is one thing on page 6, I guess it would be. Paragraph 2, I know it's just a typo. Viewable side elevation shall be built upon, and it says not additional square footage shall be allowed. The sentence doesn't really make,
Should probably be no additional square footage shall be allowed.
common, no additional, okay.
Yeah.
Right. And then, like that bank sign, the bank's been for sale. If this ordinance was in effect right now, they would have to take that sign down.
Yes, that is correct.
But this isn't retroactive, is it?
This is...
No.
No?
Why would they have to take that sign down?
Well, there's a place in here, it
'Cause they
can
have
be up
two.
for so many months or
Oh,
something.
gotcha.
Yeah.
It's not the sign size necessarily, except that they have two of them,
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
double size.
paragraph D.
Okay, thanks.
There's another
I actually
typo.
read through this thing, you guys did a really good job. Finally, I can't believe it, that everybody agreed to it.
Second reading,
Okay.
So, what do we need, a motion?
Yes. Did I already get public comment?
No.
No, okay. Any speaker cards? None. Would anybody like to address this item on the agenda? Okay. Bring it back to the council and close the public hearing.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion at the city council of San Juan
So
Bautista.
it would be, make a motion to introduce and read by title only.
Just read
The
by,
first-
yeah.
mhm. Yeah, this is the introduction.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista amending Chapter 11-04-010, Section A of the San Juan Bautista Municipal Code. Is that correct?
No, I think you're on the wrong item number.
It would be ordinance
God.
number, and the next number
Got my
is
pen stuck in there.
16,
Okay.
17.
Or actually, none of us.
No number yet.
You don't,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
you don't
Yeah.
mean a number, it's just to introduce.
So-
It would be an ordinance of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista amending Section 11.10, parentheses, signs of Title 11 of the San Juan Bautista Municipal Code.
I'll second it. Hey, you can always try.
If you made the motion, you can't second. I need a
Right.
second.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Bach, second by Councilman West.
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Bach,
Yes.
Councilmember Martorana,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ridge,
Aye.
Mayor Lund is absent. 4 members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes 4-0. Mayor Lund is absent.
Okay, that brings us to number 6, action items. The first one, item A, is mayor to appoint planning commissioner. The mayor is for those who don't know, is a member of the board of directors of the San Benito Health Foundation, and he's on a trip with that organization to Washington, D.C. So that's why he's not here tonight. So I'd like to continue this item to the next meeting.
Need a motion on that?
Do we need a motion to continue that?
No.
I can do that? Okay. So everybody in agreement with
Yes.
that? Okay. So that'll take us to item B, consider
Excuse me, I just wanted to point out that the mayor had instructed me to continue the posting, so we will continue accepting applications till the next city council meeting.
Oh, okay.
And I'll repost the date.
That's good to know, too. Yeah, okay, great, thank you. Okay, item B, consider resolution 2015, whatever, for application initiating proceedings for annexation of a 1.04 acre parcel of land into the city. And this is APN 012-140-017.
Yeah, Mr. Vice Mayor and members of the council, we adopted the pre-zoning ordinance, second reading, and this will allow us the initiation to file an application with LAFCO so that it can go forward now. All of the necessary steps, the environmental documents, the pre-zoning is completed now. Now we can make application to LAFCO. So this, and the petition always comes from the city of petitioning LAFCO that we want to adjust our boundaries.
Okay. All right. Any questions of staff before we move ahead?
No.
Any speaker cards on this one?
No speaker cards.
Anybody want to speak to this issue? Okay. We'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the council. Somebody.
Anything?
I propose we make a resolution for application of the City of San Juan Bautista initiating proceedings for annexation of a 1.04 acre parcel of land, APN 012-0, excuse me, start over again, 012-140-017 into the City of San Juan Bautista.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman West and seconded by Councilman Martorana.
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Bach,
Yes.
Councilmember Martorana,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ridge,
Aye.
and Mayor Lund is absent. 4 members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes 4-0. Mayor Lund is absent.
And this is number
This is number 15. I'm sorry, 14.
14? Okay, and we'll go to number C. Consider resolution 2015 for application initiating proceedings for annexation of a 1.08 acre parcel of land into the city, APN 012-100-012.
Again, pre-zoning, this is a triangular piece at the north of the city limits. That'll be part of the Rancho Vista subdivision, and that will be pre-zoned into from residential, low-density residential, when it comes into the city through LAFCO.
Any speaker cards on this one? No. And would anybody like to speak to this issue? Okay, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. Would anybody like to make a motion?
I move that we make a resolution for the application of the City of San Juan Bautista initiating proceedings for annexation of a 1.08 acre parcel of land, APN 012-100-012, into the City of San Juan Bautista.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman West and seconded by Councilman Bach.
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Bach?
Yes.
Councilmember Martorana?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Edge?
Aye.
Mayor Lund is absent. The 4 members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes 4-0. Mayor Lund absent.
Page 3. Item number D, consider petition for annexation, 13.3 acres at 200-300, from 200 to 300 San Juan Hollister Road. Applicant Manning.
Again, this is at the stage where you don't adopt a resolution, you don't adopt anything. At this point here, this is the initial application and petition where they come to the city council and they say, we would like to annex our property. And the city council, you're going to decide, yes, we would like to annex it. Can we provide service? Is there service available? And can service be provided for it? If you can't make that, then and I kind of outlined, and Matt and I developed this chart for you, then the annexation doesn't proceed any further. If you can make the findings that you can annex it, it's contiguous, and that you have facilities and services available to it, then you can render a positive or affirmative action. Then the applicant now can proceed down through the channels of annexation, pre-zoning, changing of the general plan, changing of the urban boundaries, all of that stuff, doing the environmental documentation, and getting to the point where then tonight you've passed a resolution initiating the annexation of it to LAFCO. And so it's a long process, and I've tried to show you there in the chart the channels that they have to go through. So at this point here, it's, does the city council feel that this piece of property can come into the city, and can you provide service? And is it contiguous?
Okay. Do we have any speaker cards on this? No speaker cards. Would anybody like to address this issue? Okay. What is our action on this? Do we accept the petition? Is that
strictly a motion to say yes, it's within our sphere of influence, it's within our urban growth boundaries, we have sewer, water, there's electrical lines there, we can provide service, it's a public highway, a public road there. If you feel that those elements are there, you can say yes, this application can go forward.
Is this considered an infill project?
Yeah, more or less, yes.
More or less.
Yeah.
But you said it's zoned commercial right now?
Currently, the 1998 general plan has this commercial.
And the
Which
new one?
is the new one has designated residential.
Okay. So, presuming it goes through all this and it gets annexed into the city, at that time, if they come to us with a proposal for X number of houses, that's when we have to determine whether or not we have the sewer and water capacity to...
That is correct, yeah. And that's the long process of the development where they have to do an environmental impact report, analyze the impacts on the sewer system, the water system, as well as our road system and traffic.
Because even when it gets to LAFCO, they're going to look at this and say yes or no. Is that right, Rick? As far as the services?
They basically do the same process that we're going through. They look to see that it's, and primarily they're looking to see whether it's contiguous with the city. If it's far away and connected by a road, you know,
and
they don't like to approve
one
this.
additional step that LAFCO requires, and we prepare it, is we have to detail a plan of service, and that's where we identify sewer, water, traffic, police, fire, all of the services that are going to be included in that.
And this was changed on the new general plan from industrial to residential?
From commercial to residential, yeah.
Well, I thought that under the old general plan guidelines, the state guidelines, we could determine zoning outside of the city limits. I thought that wasn't part of the new process. Or am I don't know that it matters in this instance, but is it's zoned, because it's not in the city, so that our zoning doesn't necessarily have any bearing, does it?
By classifying it commercial and it's in the county, basically our general plan is saying is, if you annex, that's the zoning that we would like it to come in at.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now, when Matt and I looked at it, and I've been staring at it for 3.5 years, I said, the downtown historical district is 14.2 acres.
Yeah.
And this is 13.3 acres of commercial.
Yeah.
And I'd hate to see a commercial development go in there that would take away from our historical downtown, because that's our pride of our city. You know,
yeah.
And there's no opportunity for industrial in there?
The industrial we've identified further down there by well number 3, and that's the Dale Coke and the Wyrick piece. That's the 18 acres and 12 acres.
Okay.
So what's our next motion? To petition to annex?
I think you just have to have a consensus. There doesn't have to be a vote. It just,
it doesn't?
I think you'd vote? Okay. Yeah. All right.
Vote to accept the petition? Is that, I move that we accept the petition and that we are able to, it is contiguous with the city, consistent with the general plan, and subject to services, or services are available for the parcel.
Let's second that.
Good.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Martirana, seconded by Councilman West.
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Bach?
Yes.
Councilmember Martirana?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ridge?
Aye.
4 members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the paper passes 4-0.
Okay, that takes us to item E. Consider adoption of Resolution 2015.
We've already done that.
We've done that. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
E and F we've done.
E and F were done already. I didn't mark them off my agenda.
And then you run a very efficient meeting.
Yes, you did.
I'm trying not to be in a hurry.
I'm going to vote. I'm going to kick Lynn out.
He said, well, he may never come back.
The only thing we got is the financial.
Yeah, Chuck still hasn't made it.
Yeah,
maybe we can get out of here before he comes in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, number
cruel.
7, comments. We can't really delay the meeting and wait for him, so we'll move ahead. Item 7, comments. City Council?
Just like to thank the Planning Commission for putting the sign ordinance to bed. And I imagine that's probably why Georgiana coincided the time. That's why the timing coincided with that, I imagine. So anyway, my thanks to them.
And my thanks to Roger for working on the Rancho Vista and walking us through that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I only had one thing on the financial, and I don't know if you guys saw this young lady's bill from, we got 20 grand in lawyer's fees. You must be driving a new Mercedes there?
That could be,
There's
could be the prior city attorney, George's.
Oh, his retirement fund.
I know the Dadwell project
Yeah.
has had
Yeah.
Oh,
some
yeah.
extra time in, so that's
Oh,
really
yeah.
where we've gone over the usual
I
courses.
I just thought people should be aware that how much all of these things are costing the city, in attorney's fees. But other than that, I don't have anything.
Okay. I'd like to throw something out. I guess it was pretty recently, the authorities are starting to tell us that we have 1 year's supply of water left, and 2015 may be drier than 2014. I heard on the news that Australia went through a 10-year drought. I forget when.
2010.
And apparently some people consider it a 13-year drought, depending on who you talk to. Water's a big concern. I saw an article that I thought was pretty good about Israel. They're basically desert land, and so they have to take care of what water they have, and they've done very well. As nations go, I think they're in the top 10 of being efficient with conserving their water to make it work. What they've done is they've put sensors throughout their system so that if a leak develops, they can get on it right away, because the loss of the water into the ground is costing them money, because and more than that, because they can't replace it. You can't go out and buy water, you just have what you have, and you need to make the best use of it. So what I'm wondering is, Roger, you're the expert here. Is this an issue that we need to agendize or have a study session on, or is it something you're keeping an eye on?
Yeah, we're keeping an eye on it, and it was my point tonight is that I think that we should reactivate our water conservation efforts, and what you're talking about is leak detections, and we're very aware of that. We have some consultants giving us some proposals on doing leak detections and finding out where we have, in the vast majority of the older part of the city, is some older lines that are well over 100 years. And we feel is that there are a lot of leaks in there. And every once in a while they'll crop up and we'll have to get back and repair them. So that's a very thing. But conservation is probably one of the most effective ways that we can reduce our waste of water. Now the vast majority of water is by agriculture, and I think it's 70 to 75%.
80+% in California.
80 plus in California.
Yeah.
And more farmers are going to drip irrigation and stuff like that, and getting there. So I think it's imperative that we all work together, both agriculture, business, as well as residential.
What's the difference between the...
Excuse me.
Lord, take this
your
off.
microphone off.
between the...
I didn't have that much time.
Kind of came over you fast. What's the difference between the gallons pumped and the gallons sold? In other words, how much are we losing to our old pipes?
There is probably about I would say, anywhere from an 8 to an 11% variation. It depends on how much pressure you have in the lines, and the more pressure, the more exfiltration you have.
Is the sensor idea, is that expensive?
Yes, very expensive. Yeah. Yeah. And it'll take a number of years to implement, but you can start it and initiate it. Yes.
Roger and I have been talking. The city itself spent a large sum of money putting purple lines in for recycled water. And at the cemetery, we spent about $20,000 to put a line all the way around the cemetery for purple and drinking water too. Put in a tank and all that stuff. And now the state won't let us use the water, or the, what is it, Roger, the regional water
Yeah, they will allow us to it, but they want a tremendous amount of monitoring wells and testing that is almost
which would have been
stifling.
kind of nice if they'd have told us that up in front.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
So I don't know where we can go, but I mean, I'd like to keep the cemetery nice and green, but I'm not going to do it with, you know, drinking water.
Yeah,
I had a meeting with Lloyd Bracewell, you know, who runs our sewer treatment and the water system, and I told him to schedule a meeting with the Regional Water Quality Control Board down in San Luis Obispo. And we want to go down there and see if we can barter and get these stifling monitoring and testing regulations relaxed. You know, I think I'm not against testing, but when these same tests apply to, say, the application of recycled water right next to the San Benito River, where it's a gravel bed, is different than making the application on hard pan and alluvial material next to the hills. And I think their postage stamp applications doesn't differentiate that type of soil. Sure. That's what we're going to attack them on, you know, or not, you know, approach them on that. Mm-hmm.
I also heard that a lot of
Thanks a lot.
jurisdictions are not recycling their wastewater back into their own aquifers. Is there a way we can do that without the Regional Water Quality Control Board having a say?
We're sort of, this is becoming a discussion and not
Yeah.
comments.
Yeah.
I think we need to,
And you stalled long enough.
Yeah, God damn, thanks a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's.
I think it is a good
I think that's
agenda item.
It's room for a special meeting, or we'll agendize it on the next meeting.
Okay, all right. Is that okay with the council that we
Yeah,
get into
absolutely.
this? Okay.
And I have
Certainly.
just a couple items, and that was one is water conservation, which I wanted to bring to your attention. And the other is that we are implementing our financial refinancing, and we've taken the steps. We're going to have another meeting of your Joint Powers Authority that you have, and you'll be adopting resolutions and officers and stuff like that. How you're going to conduct that? I got to be honest with you. Is when I came on board, the previous administration ended up with about a $1.8 million debt, where the general funds were financing the infrastructures for the sewer and water, and that's going to come back and bite us when we go through the refinancing. Is that they're going to take a look at us and says, "Hey, how do you solve that?" So we got to come up with a plan of how we're going to pay that back from the water fund to the general fund. So, well, I'll just leave it at that. We'll have that as another agenda item.
Okay, great.
Richard Ponce wanted to speak, add some comments to.
Yeah, go ahead, Richard.
Richard Ponce, 93 Wall Street. I didn't quite make it to the public comment section of the meeting, but I think I can sneak in my comment here. It's appropriate. I would like to announce that on March 21st, our city manager, Roger Grimsley, is one of the persons being honored by the Hollister Baylor Education Fund Committee. It's their annual Hall of Fame Festival, or Fest, and it will be held at San Juan Oaks from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's on March 21st. And if you'd like to get tickets, you can get them at the Hollister High School Pension Center. And congratulations, Roger.
Very nice.
Hey. I would like to say that I've seen the photos. The library, you can see Connie for the yearbook photos of Roger in his uniforms, baseball and basketball.
I got to add something to that. Me that you brought it up. He was one hell of a ball player, basketball player. He could probably compete with these high school students now.
Okay.
And that's when we wore very short shorts.
That's right. No big baggies. Huh? Okay. Do we have city manager, city attorney comments? No? Okay. Chuck, you made it just in the nick of time. We were trying to set a record and get out of here before you got here, so. Unfortunately, I talked too long, so now you can.
Okay, I won't take that. I won't take that long. I just got off work. I think most of you know that.
Yeah.
I still have to earn my income, and what I do, I enjoy. So anyway, I'm sure Roger touched base on our treasury report.
No.
Oh, he hasn't?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
We saved it for you because we knew you were coming.
Just for you.
Yeah.
All right. Let me put my glasses on here. First of all, once again, we're at the 7th month period of our budget year, the end of February 28th. Just looking for something important to say. We're aware that the enterprise fund is losing money a little. It's at a loss because from the prior year due to the lowering of water revenue. I think that's. I just want to mention to the council that this is an issue that's being really addressed up in our northern cities because so many budgets are built on what revenue you're anticipating, and it's something maybe this council may have to address. But the good news is people are saving water. The bad news is impacting our budget. And I just want to tell you that, and you're aware, I can tell you shaking heads, everybody's kind of aware of what that impact is to cities up here in California. And some of them actually are now talking about raising rates, which is causing a lot of people to come up and say, you know, I'm a ratepayer, I'm saving water for the city, but now you're going to raise my rates. So I don't know how that's going to impact San Juan, but I just want to tell you that was a point that really kind of stuck in my mind. The second thing I want to talk about is I know that Councilmember, let's say Chris, I have a hard time listening.
Sure.
I know you asked, and I think there were a couple others. Tony, you asked about a spreadsheet on the fees. Did you get that in your packet? Where we broke down the impact fees and showed you what went to the parks, and oh, here it is. The last time I was here, that was brought up by Tony and Chris, and we went back, and this information was in the spreadsheet. It's just something that we don't print that much, but we do want to show you that out of each impact fee that's collected by the city, portions go into different budgets, and those are broken down for you right there.
Thank you.
Because I know and I agree with you. Sometimes you ask, well, how much money do we have in the Parks Department, you know, that we can do something with? So I just want you to know we did really work on that for you.
Thank you.
And I thank Roger and our accountant, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Thanks.
Thank you.
This really makes it a lot easier to figure out rather than going through all this.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and if there's ever another question, you know, the thing is that I really appreciate about Roger, and I'm learning so much, is transparency. And we want to be very transparent to the community as well as to our council members on where the money is and how it's allocated in different departments and different budgets. And with that said, there's other stuff in the treasury report, but it's pretty much, if you notice, we're also getting some of the revenue in from our taxes. Is coming from property taxes, which is helping. Remember we talked about last time it was kind of low, and now it's coming back up. So those numbers are in there for you to see. But I think the most important thing is that we're still operating in a positive cash flow. And that's like paragraph number 3. So I think that's real important the city understand it. Yeah, times are tough. We hope to bring more business. We're looking at hopefully maybe some businesses come in, but we're still running on a cash flow, positive cash flow. Okay. Was there any other questions? Did you guys have a chance to look at the warrants? Were there questions on the warrants? Okay.
I didn't.
Okay, so
No, I mean,
I know you.
the only one I pointed out was, to her was the $20,000 we put into the Wellington retirement fund.
Yes. All I can say is there are 2 postings in the warrants paid to the attorneys because it didn't get posted last month. honestly, I think the city's going the right direction.
Well,
And unfortunately, legal fees are legal fees. But I'm a big supporter of what Roger's doing. I know we're going to benefit from it. We just have to continue with what we're doing. And that's about all I'm going to say on that.
The San Benito County Administrative Office, that was the largest.
Yes, you're talking about the...
That's the communication contract that is divided between the fire department and the law enforcement.
Got it.
I think
For
we
the
budgeted
911.
$51,000. It's a little bit more than they there, but it's part of the communication budget. And the communication budget is run through the county, and they use Santa Cruz as the 911.
Okay.
Well, let's see, was there anything else that you'd like to, like the Logistic Associates, the GEO, on, that will come back to us. You know, that's something.
That's
that-
reimbursable from our development where they do investigations and we make them put up the money and then we pay it out of there. That is part of an environmental stuff and it has to be arm's length again away from the development.
Was there any other questions on the warrants? No. Well, I just want to say happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you. And I was going to bring a six-pack of old duels, but I didn't know if I could do that, and it changed. So I played the safe side and said no. But anyway, have a nice St. Patrick's Day, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. I don't think we need a roll call vote for adjournment. Thank you all.